Hi, and welcome to the Ultimate Perimenopause Podcast. I'm Dr. Shawna DeRue, and I'm here today with my co-host, Maggie Chilton. Hi, Maggie.
Hi, Shawna.
And today we have an awesome guest. We're going to be speaking with Dr. Lisa Lewis, who is a naturopathic doctor and acupuncturist. She's a rapid recovery expert, holistic health harmonizer, CEO of Lewis Healing Institute, owner of Nature Doctors Nutraceuticals, and Bastyr University graduate. Wow, that was a mouthful. And Dr. Lewis is also the author of a book called Stop Stressing Me Out, 7 Solutions to Overcome Overwhelm and Conquer Disease Naturally. And she's helped over 5,000 patients regain their health, reclaim their power, and elevate their life. Welcome, Lisa. So great to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys.
Now, tell us quickly where you're based so people know where you're based.
Okay, so I have a physical practice in West Orange, New Jersey. That's in northern New Jersey. And for most naturopathic patients because also I'm an acupuncturist, right? So that's that requires a physical location. But for anything else I treat patients all over the world. So primarily via phone or Zoom or Skype, so I can support people anywhere with their healing.
Fantastic. So let's start off with something, I guess fairly basic. How did you get into naturopathic medicine? How was your journey? What has your journey been so far?
Yes, it's so interesting because I've been practicing for a little bit more than 15 years. And I feel like what brought me to naturopathic medicine and all the experiences that I've had since are so interesting. Like your healing, most people move to naturopathic medicine or move to a healing modality because they have a challenge in their life and something that no one could figure out. So here we go, physician heal thyself. My purpose was to begin to help to balance my hormones. That was interesting because I wanted to be a doctor ever since I was 5. So I knew that I knew at 5 years old, I'm going to be a doctor, but I had no idea about natural medicine or naturopathic medicine. So I went the route of Western medicine, the route of pharmaceuticals. I work for the pharmaceutical industry because, of course, being in New Jersey, it's like the pharmaceutical capital of the world. And I worked in pharmaceuticals for about 10 years. And I had the opportunity to actually see that the Western medicine perspective was limited. Right. And at the same time, I started going through my own health challenges, and they were very hormonally based. The female challenges, menses challenges with heavy menses and fertility issues, things of that nature. And all Western medicine could do was say to put me on a birth control pill, right? or take naproxen or naproxen sodium or Aleve, most people know it now, the over-the-counter, before you have cramps, right? Before you go into the pain and the heaving and all the challenges you have. And I kept saying to myself, well, that is not a solution, okay? Like, number one, I do not want to be on medication, even though at the time I was actually a pharmaceutical rep. My mother used to say I was a legal drug dealer, right? Promoting medication, but I was going to all the doctors telling them, don't use medication, do diet, behavior modification, do all of these things. And then if that doesn't work, then try medication. So in my spirit, it never really sat well to use medication first line, or to use surgery first line. And I was happy to find natural medicine via my own pursuit of wellness. And when I found it, I was like, wow, I hit the jackpot. This is the doctor that I'm supposed to be. And then it's history from there. I went to Bastyr University in Seattle, Washington. I did both my doctorate in naturopathic medicine and my acupuncture degrees at the same time. I know, intense, right? And this is why I know about stress, right? And it's just been a journey ever since. I mean, I've had even more health challenges after practicing, and after starting, because what do? You graduate, you jump in here. I'm gonna build this big practice. I want to have this full practice. I want to make this big difference in the world, and you don't recognize even then that still your body and your mind and your spirit is being taxed, right? And so there's been journey after journey after journey, just teaching me more and more about physician heal thyself, and also how I can treat and help other people, because basically my patients show up just like me, right? Go-getter, great, that person who wants to make a difference in the world, wants to really, be at the top of their craft. And, then their body and their mind and things start to become challenged, right? So that's really I'm my patient. And so as most practitioners are, right?
I was going to say, Shawna and myself would be them too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You've come through it, right? So know who better to support someone through a problem than someone that just doesn't have textbook knowledge of it, but has literal experience going through the challenges and the conditions. So I appreciate. I don't look at my symptoms as problems. I look at them as ways to really help me refine and understand where my imbalances are, so that I can constantly keep narrowing and bringing myself closer and closer to health. So. Yeah.
Mm.
So today we wanted to talk about hormone balance from a body, mind, and spirit perspective. So can you tell us a little bit more about your thoughts on that? Because that's when we were speaking a few months back, or a few weeks back. That's what really got me interested in wanting to bring you on the show today.
So as a naturopathic doctor, most people believe that it's all about the supplements, it's all about the herbs, it's all about the treatment plan or the protocol, right? What should I take for this condition, right? That's really tantamount to Western medicine. Instead of taking a drug, they're just coming in and asking for a supplement or a diet regimen, or what herbs can they take. And I realized very quickly, especially as it relates to stress, right, that lifestyle and behavior modification have a huge impact on health in general, but especially hormones. And then, as I'm constantly going through my journey, right, and taking and moving through health, I started to really focus more on the spiritual and the mental and emotional aspects of what drove me, what put me in these predicaments and positions, right? What forces me to follow the habits that I have every day that compromise my health. All of those things. And it really boiled down to a very spiritual and emotional experience. And when I started to then incorporate more of that work into the work with the patients, they started getting so faster. Faster, which is why they started calling me the rapid recovery expert, right? Because it was that before we even got to the body to do the work on the body had already started transforming, simply because we were doing so much mental, emotional, and spiritual work. And it's really mostly about mindset, shifting how you think about yourself, shifting how you think about your health, shifting how you respond to things in your environment, shifting how you respond to the people in your life and the situation, your job and all those things. We have to shift how we support ourselves through that journey, because we are never taught, right? We're never taught that our thoughts and our emotions and, and where we are on our spiritual journey affects our health. We think we can do anything out here, but if we change our diet and if we take a pill, it's going to make it better. And that's really, it's the opposite. what I found very much so is that if you do your internal work, your meditation, and the spiritual and emotional work, and start to balance out how you respond and how you treat others and how you respond to things in your life, that you really need less and less and less supplements, less and less herbs. Your diet, we always have to, we'll always have to eat a clean diet, but the treatment that you need is less and less. And so I almost feel like my patients say, you know, when I come to you, I don't feel like I'm at a doctor. I feel like I'm at a psychologist or psychiatrist's office, because we do so much mental and emotional work. And then I support them on their spiritual journey. Most people have a different spiritual path, and I just support them along their spiritual path, but really focus on helping people learn to meditate and be still and hear the voice that will guide them to follow their intuition. You know, that's the power of, I feel that's the power of natural medicine.
Yeah, it's really, it's funny because whenever Shawna and I get guests on the show, 9 times out of 10, we're like, oh, that's why you're on the show. Because there's a reason why they're on the show at that time, speaking about that specific thing. You know, I'm probably a little bit more in it than Shawna, as in, what would we term it? Health-wise, because Shawna's been helping me along my path too. But I think with my practice, I'm going to be moving. I'm a holistic nutritionist. So we always talk about body, mind, spirit. But I think from the experiences that I've had over the past year, my practice will be moving more into the spiritual side of it, because exactly what you're talking about is that whatever you're going through, and I don't think it's a question of having a positive attitude or positive sayings that you, your positive affirmations that you say. It's all, you're exactly right. It's all about mindset shift.
Yeah.
How can I not think this way? How can I change it into something that I can work with, something that I can work towards, so that the outcome will be different and I won't feel it physically. I just think it's absolutely fascinating.
And it's so interesting because most people believe that they have a condition, a dis-ease, because of something that, you know, a genetic predisposition, right? Or some thing that they're not doing, or something that some kind of food that they ate that didn't support their body, or because something that came in contact with like a bacteria or a virus. And that's not untrue, right? that those are all possibilities. But when someone starts to really understand that they become their thoughts, they become their actions, right? There's another level of consciousness that we start to tap into, and people then understand that their health, their occupation, all the things that they're doing are all tied to a bigger purpose. It's tied to their purpose, right? The reason why they showed up. So I always believe that the work that I do is not just about helping people shift their health. It's really about helping them become more of who they're supposed to be, so that they can start to live and walk and breathe in their purpose, right? And if they can do that, then the sky is the limit. So most people think, oh, they're coming to me because diabetes, or they're coming to me because, you know, their infertility or some kind of challenge. And then they end up practicing. They're like, I want to become a health coach, or, you know, or I want to do this, or I really want to do that. Like, I'm going to quit my job. And, you know, like their whole world starts to shift because they've been living in this limited perspective. And all the work just starts to do is just expand us, expand us, expand us, expand us out. And it's just amazing. So it's really that's the work that I feel like I know that I've been put on this earth to do. And it's just, it just begins with health and wellness. It begins with the doctor piece of the puzzle, but expands so much further than that. So,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the work that I had to do personally.
Right? I was going to say it's usually through, whatever you've been through,
right.
You take that, and then those people are attracted to you because you've been through it, and you can empathize with them, and you've walked in their path. Yeah. And that makes a huge difference from somebody who has never done that and doesn't really understand what's going on.
Yeah. And one of the challenges as well is that when people show up, right, they show up thinking, okay, I have this condition, heal me, fix me, right? Fix me, right? And that's not uncommon. And I don't want people to feel like they shouldn't go to a practitioner feeling like that practitioner should support them, help them. But here's the thing. I can only heal myself, right? I can be a guide and a conduit to other people to support their healing. So what I learned is the more work that I do on myself, the faster I can support and the more efficiently I can support others in doing their work, right? So as a practitioner, a lot of people feel like they can teach something and they can support something, but they don't have to be it, right? Mm-hmm. I don't have to change my diet. I can just tell somebody what to eat, right? I don't have to meditate. I can just talk to somebody about how they should meditate, right? And it's completely the opposite, right? So it was really a transformational journey for me, going from the corporate environment to wellness, and then looking at the wellness industry and saying, well, you guys are kind of missing the boat too, because all you're thinking about is science, science, science. And now we know science and spirituality are starting to connect and kind of prove themselves, like quantum physics and all of these amazing forms, ologies or sciences are really starting to show that everything is about energy and vibration. And so it's the vibrational work that's so important. And I think that's truly why I do acupuncture, because I do acupuncture more for the energy and the vibrational work to help move people closer and faster through that work. And I can kind of touch them. So I'm going to learn how to do acupuncture from a distance soon, I'm sure. Or some kind of, like I do Reiki, distance Reiki and all those. Yep. But I know there's going to be a way eventually that I'm going to be able to support people doing a lot more of that deeper energetic work that won't have to come into the office. But it's just an amazing journey. And I feel like every time I go through something, I have to look inside as to go, why? Why am I experiencing it? What is it that I'm supposed to learn? What am I supposed to then understand so then I can teach this? So I can support people along their journey. And that's really why I started to focus on stress and hormone imbalance, because I know that my world was just a world of nothing but stress. I mean, if I even just talk to you about how many degrees I have and how many I've done dual degrees and the jobs that I've had that were just completely stressful. Being an entrepreneur for 13 years, really having an entrepreneurial mindset all my life. Taking jobs sales jobs, right? Where you only get paid, you only eat if you sell, right? All of these intense climbing corporate ladders, like all of these things pushed me into a state of chronic stress. And so by the time I graduated from naturopathic school, so all those things happened before I went to medical school, right? That was before the dual degree of naturopathic and acupuncture, right? And so when I graduated, I was like, okay, I gotta hit it hard. And so I was like, I'm gonna have a full practice in 2 years, because this is what we're taught. So I was up every night till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, writing, working on and speaking and doing everything I possibly could to be a success as a doctor. And my body said, nope, sorry, and just petered out. It just flat. And it was interesting because when I tested my adrenals finally, because most people don't recognize that you can understand what your stress is doing to you by actually testing. We now have a physical way of helping you to show you how much stress you're in. I was flatlined. I didn't have a nice belt. I didn't have a nice curve where my cortisol was high in the morning and low at night. It was just straight across. And I call that the flat line. That's like that stage 3 adrenal fatigue. But I looked like I could run a marathon. I had so much energy still. It was just like, but my body was so used to running on adrenaline that, and I was an adrenaline junkie as well. I would, want to skydive and ride motorcycles and bungee jump. And I mean, I love the thrill of it. Right. But my body said enough, right? You can't do that and survive and live a healthy life. And so that's really where the depth of this work started to come into play, because I had to recognize that what I was doing every day in my life was not supporting my health, even though I was eating an immaculate diet, right? And I was doing all the things, I might not have been getting as much sleep, right, as because I was night owl, and but all these other things I was just doing. I was taking my supplements and doing all the exercising, but my body said no. And I had to really recognize that it was the stress. And so for most people who are type A, that you trying to tell them that stress is breaking them down, it's like trying to tell someone in Seattle to stop drinking coffee, right? Right? Like, what do you mean stress? I know I'm stressed, but I'm handling it, right? Yeah. You're handling it, but not really. Your body's going to teach you.
So I have one more question. Sorry, Shawna, you're going to get a chance to answer your questions. I promise.
It's like, hey, go for it.
It's so perfect while we're talking about what you've been going through. I want to ask you about emotions and hormones. I mean, I was just reading recently. I don't know why I suddenly was reading recently. But, I've had massive hair loss, as Shawna knows, because she probably gets it from me on a daily basis, how much I've lost. But, when you look at it from a body, mind, spirit perspective, that has to do with strength. Yeah. Like you lose your hair because you don't feel strong. You don't have strength within yourself, within your relationships. And I was like, that is exactly what I've been going through. And it just a light bulb went off. So what is your experience of emotions and hormones? Because people don't think that they're related generally.
So, emotions are related to every disease, right? Absolutely every disease. So we could go down the line and list any disease state and your emotion is attached to it. So just think about it if we think about it from a Chinese medicine perspective, right? Your solid organs, like the lungs, the heart, the spleen, the kidney, right? All of those organs actually hold an emotion, right? So when we treat using needles or herbs or however we're going to treat, we're here to help dissipate or release particular emotions, help people manage them or balance those emotions. So for instance, like when a patient comes in and they've gone through a grief state, I know that their lungs are about to be attacked, right? And you can either go to like we call them homegoing services as opposed to funerals, and you can hear a lot of coughing. Right, you'll hear a lot of people coughing a lot, or you'll hear people starting to like lose their voice or have difficulty breathing because their lungs are being affected by the grief. Fear, huge for the kidney, right? So when we look at things that we're supposed to experience, and just so you know, kidney in Chinese medicine isn't just about the physical kidney. It's also about the adrenals, right? Mm-hmm. So when we have particular physical conditions, there's an emotion attached to it. Spleen, stomach, or our digestive system is about worry. How interesting is that? how when you like are worried about something, you get butterflies in your stomach, or right, that vagus nerve, you know, or how they call the gut the second brain, right? Because when we're pensive and we think too much and we're worrying, our digestive system and our ability to break down and feed ourselves, right, to really
Mhm.
feed ourselves is going to be affected. So there's so many ways that we can look at it. That's just a Chinese medicine perspective. Now we can look at it from the energetic perspective and think about vibration, right? So what I think controls what I feel, right? So I don't know if anyone is into Abraham Hicks and, you know, the emotional guidance scale, but there's an emotional guidance scale where love is all the way at the top, is the highest energetic vibration, and fear, anger, resentment, um, loathing, all those things are all the way on that the lowest vibration. I think it goes from 1 to 22, right? And so when you are in a particular emotion, you vibrate at that energetic frequency. So that's where you start to deal with the law of attraction, where you start to attract other things that are vibrating at that frequency. So if I say to myself, oh, you know, I've gained so much weight and I hate the way I look, and, you know, I'm just not, I don't love myself, right? But then I say, but I want to get healthy. I want to be healthy. But I'm thinking, I don't like the way I look. I don't love who I am. I don't appreciate the body that I'm in right now. Those energetic frequencies, the words of that energy, they don't match. I have to then start to figure out how I can make sure my words and my emotions and that vibrational frequency matches. So we start to teach people how to make sure that what they're thinking and what they say really matches what you really want. Like, do you really want to get healthy? Do you really want to lose weight? Do you really want to have that child? Do you really want to have an easy menstrual cycle, or have your thyroid balance? Like, do you really want to have less stress in your life, right? Because if you do, then what we have to start thinking is, I know I'm in this particular place, but, you know, it is possible for me to achieve this particular goal. Or, you know, I've seen people do it, right? Or I've done it before and I can do it again, right? All of those things are very different vibrational energies than I don't love myself, or I can't do it. I've tried this before and it won't work. Like, you can hear, right, how that doesn't align with I want to be healthy. Right, right.
Mhm.
It just doesn't align. So the words and what we feel, because remember, when you say it, there's going to be an emotion attached to it, right? Like, even as we talk about anger, because anger is such this kind of nebulous, almost like to me, it's like a nebulous emotion, because you feel anger or you experience anger. I think it's safer for people to be angry than it is for them to be sad or to be depressed, right? Or because the world might accept emotion by you being angry or showing that, right? But it doesn't. You're weak if you're crying, right? You're weak if you're sad. So I always say you're angry, but underneath that there's a deeper emotion attached to it. And so we have to get to those deep emotions, uncover them. What do you really feel? What are you really thinking? You have to be really honest with me, really honest with yourself. And they sit in this big red chair right here that I'm in, right? And they cry and they release. I make sure it's red because of heart energy. And they get honest with themselves. And once you can get honest with yourself, then we can start to look and see what organ systems, what disease states, what challenges are associated with that emotion that you're feeling, and then start to begin to step by step raise that vibration. You can't go from I hate myself to I love myself every day. You know, like those you were just talking about those, you know, the what you call
affirmations.
Affirmations, right? Because I don't even like the word affirmation in that sense, in the way that it's used, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't trick yourself into being more. You know, you have to work through the steps to be able to really truly believe it. If we say it enough, is it really going to happen? You have to vibrationally match it to manifest it, right? And that's the key. So that's how emotions for me and the work that I do really support people in moving through it, because you can get honest and real deep with yourself. And then that just like, you know, you just released like a ton of bricks that you've been carrying around, like all this baggage you've been carrying around. And that's when we can start doing the real work.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So my question around that is, you know, around, well, I can speak from experience too, is that I find it really difficult to maintain that state of matching the vibration, especially with the perimenopause hormone and mood swings that come. Yeah. So there's days where it's really easy and the congruence is there, but it slips. And I see a lot of that in my practice as well. It's like, how do we maintain that focus when your life is on this roller coaster through perimenopause, especially?
Yeah, so it's interesting, because what most people believe is that once you reach the vibration, or you can feel, you know, like, oh, I meditate all the time, so I'm not going to have any bad days, right? I'm not going to have any challenges, right? You have to know that life happens, right? And the vibration will shift and will adjust, right? You will have to, I mean, I don't know who can be as perfect to stay in love all the time. I'm just waiting to find it. Okay. I'm waiting, right? Because I just want to hold that. I want to just sit in that vibration, right? But you know, you're going to have the peaks and valleys. You're going to, I mean, that's what life is all about. Remember, you know, we're here to learn and to experience and to grow. And you can only really grow through the understanding of that life isn't perfect. Like, we're going to have challenges, and to accept and believe that those challenges aren't going to break you, or aren't going to put you in a particular position where you'll never be able to reach that vibration or reach it again. So one of the interesting things is that you have to accept that the peaks and the valleys are part of your process. And as soon as you accept that, you're going to react to the peak and the valley much differently. You're going to say, girl, today is one of those days. Today I'm a 2, okay? Where I would love to be a 10 on the energetic scale, or I love, you know, I recognize I'm there, and you go into your meditation, your deep breathing, you try and raise your energy and raise your vibration as high as you possibly can. You don't put yourself in positions where you have to do a whole lot of work, or, you know, it might shift some things around in your schedule that won't support that vibration. You know what I mean? You have to begin to really know that inside of you, you can control not the energetic swing, but what happens in your life, supporting, and you know, that supporting all the things that you're doing and the things that you're there to support. You can shift those things, right? It's about how we respond to it, not what happens to us, right? So we have to, it's all about the response. So if I get, I'm still a bit of a road warrior, right? So if I get cut off on one of my low vibration days, I might cuss at somebody while I'm driving down the street, okay? Right? I might, right? I might not say it loud, but I might say it, right? So now I don't have to, right? I don't have to. I could look at that person and go, they're having a bad day, or maybe they're on their way to work. Or, you know, something, you know, I hope they don't do that for the entire drive because they could get in, they can get into an accident or they can cause an accident, right? So I can start responding to the peaks and the valleys and the things that are going to happen to me, right? They're going to happen to us. We're here in the world, right? So just start to focus on first recognizing that it's happening, right? Because once you know, oh, low vibration, that's the first phase of shifting your energy because you've recognized it, right? And then once you start to recognize it constantly, then you can start saying, now, how should I respond to this differently? What would support me in making sure that even though I have this low energy day or this low vibration day, that is not going to just annihilate everything that I'm trying to do. And as soon as you actually start to believe it and think that and understand it, the vibration changes. It doesn't affect you. It doesn't affect you the way that you thought it was going to. It's absolutely amazing to experience it. But you will. This is part of life. We're always going to go through stuff. And I love change. Like I probably change every 2 weeks, like something majorly is shifting because I love change, because if I know I'm changing, I'm growing. And if I'm growing, then my spirit is expanding. Like every part of me is expanding. So I've embraced change, where some people loathe change, right? And loathing change, what? You're going to be miserable, right? Because you know that the only thing that's constant is change, right? We're going to change. Life is going to change. Something around us is going to change. So it's still working every day on that mindset shift, as Maggie said, right? It's the mindset. As soon as we know something is happening, like I was having construction done on the office, and my contractor he was having a bad day, a really bad day. As a matter of fact, he messed my door up. He was having a bad day, right? And I said to him, I know you think that you have to finish all of these 10 things today, but why don't you just stop? Because now you're going to make 10 things worse, right? Just stop. You uttered, I'm having a bad day. Today is a bad day. So if you know that, don't do all 10 of those things, because tomorrow you're going to have to fix, if you can, all those 10 things that you probably screwed up. If you would have so I said, why don't you just sit down, relax? He couldn't hear it. He couldn't hear it. It was not happening. So i.e. now my door is messed up, right? And now you have to fix the door, right? But that's the work that we can do, with our people, right? Helping them recognize that day is going to come when you're having the bad feeling, the bad thoughts, when you're going to want to eat the cookie, right? When you're going to want to eat it, right? You're going to like, oh, I want that, right? And you might take a nibble of it and you'll be like, oh, Lord, I ate the cookie, right? Just don't eat the whole thing, okay? Give yourself grace, right? Give yourself grace, and then throw the cookie away and focus on why you wanted to eat the cookie, not the cookie, because the cookie's not the problem. What emotion showed up making you want to eat that cookie, right?
Yeah.
And so it's so much. It's a lot of work. It's good work, and it's interesting because no day is the same, no thought is the same. I mean, it's just a never-ending type of experience. And I would say, let it go, release, forgive yourself, and keep moving on. Don't hold on to things that you can't change. It's like that serenity prayer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
That's a whole podcast in itself. Like
yes.
the letting go. It's so incredibly difficult. Mm-hmm. But and again, there's another podcast on changing that thought pattern, switching it around. How can it benefit you? How can you create a different outcome? Because that's what most of us probably need when we're going through perimenopause, whether it be breaking, marriage breakups or losing a partner or or gaining the weight, whatever it is. It's how we reframe that, which is huge.
Now, the work still is cleanse. So I help support people do the cleansing work first, right? And then so that they can get things off of them and out of them, right? You know, like just cleanse the body, mind, and spirit, right? And then support in balancing them, calibrating. Because yeah, we do still have to work on the hormones. We still have to work on the things that are out of balance, right? And then we cultivate, then we start to help build that new perspective, all those habits and all the, you know, yeah, you're going to take some herbs. Yeah, you're going to take some supplements. Yeah, you're going to change your diet, right? You're going to do it. You have to, right? Because probably what you were doing before wasn't supporting you, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to be the only thing you're going to do. You're going to do all of those other pieces of the puzzle while you're changing and shifting what you believe, what you believe about yourself, what you believe about other things, you know, all those things. And if you can do that work, then it's long lasting. It's not, then you don't have to take the supplement forever. You take it for a few months and your body's balanced, right? Yeah, you do have to eat well. Sorry, you have to eat right forever.
Which is the tough one.
You're not gonna get away from that, right?
Yeah.
But you know, but that is all about balance as well, and that's about treating yourself right and loving yourself and doing the things that can support you along your journey as well. Because why would you choose to eat things that you know are going to move you away from health, right? That's another emotional piece of the puzzle that we look at, right? Choices, right? And that's a whole nother podcast too, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm writing them all down.
Yeah, this has been an amazing discussion. I think we're going to wrap up now because it's, we're getting long on time right now, but we'll definitely have you back on because I've got a few great ideas here too about mindset and choices and patterns and all of that I'd love to talk more about.
Yeah,
Is there
you back on?
Yeah. Is there somewhere our listeners can find you online, your website or any resources?
Oh gosh, I have a ton of
We'll put them all in the show notes.
Yeah,
so
okay.
You'll let us know that, but just something, it's sort of a quick one for somebody to go to.
So my basic website is drlisalewis.com. And I do support people in understanding where they are in their journey and how I can support them. So you can go to drlisalewis.com/discovery to have a call with me, or strategy call or discovery call with me to really find out what's happening and what's going on in your life and how to begin to balance your hormones, reduce your stress, and what I call have energy, serenity, and hormone harmony.
I think you see yourself being inundated with calls, by the way. Yes, so be prepared.
Well, that's when you fill out when you go to drlisalewis.com/discovery, then you'll fill out the form and you'll be able to answer some questions, and I'll be able to figure out whether or not we would be a great fit to work together. And if for some reason I feel we aren't, then I always like to give you other resources as well. Because,
excellent.
We can't help everybody, but we can. Right? So, yeah. So thank you guys so much for having me. This was so much fun.
Well, thank you for being, and I think we have about 4 more podcasts to come with you as a guest.
I love it.
From what I wrote down.
I'm not going anywhere.
Well, thank you so much for spending time with us. It was amazing.
You're welcome. Thank you guys for sticking with me, and
it was wonderful. And it was good to see you again, Shawna. I haven't seen you in the flesh, so to speak, in about a week. So it's been nice to see you too.
A whole week.
A whole week. Feels like years. Don't forget, guys, we would really, really appreciate you subscribing to our podcast, liking it, sharing it on Facebook. This podcast is actually going to be videoed, or we are videoing it, so it's going to be on our YouTube channel. Please make sure you subscribe and share it, particularly with people that you know are sort of in the same area or dealing with the same kind of things who would really benefit from speaking to Lisa. Okay, thank you so much. We will talk to you again next week. Bye.
Bye.